fire in a supermarket in Buffalo last week, killing 10 people, all of them black. He was acting on a right-wing white supremacist ideology that includes the quote-unquote great replacement theory. Now, you never heard of it, right? Well, just listen to Fox.
Their plan is to bring in millions of people into this country illegally, that they can give them a green card, citizenship, and turn them into voters so they can control the country.
That's just one tiny example of the theory that's been peddled for years by Fox and many of the Republican politicians who frequent its airwaves. But the calls to repudiate that theory in the party, well, even after Buffalo, don't hold your breath. This week at a press conference, the ostensible leader of the party, Mitch McConnell, was given 3 chances to explicitly reject the concept. He didn't. Because apparently the Republican Party just won't reject racism. Never mind that, according to the Anti-Defamation League, white supremacy has been behind the majority of the nearly 450 murders committed by political extremists over the past 10 years. Still, the Republican Party's leaders are silent. But here's the thing. If the Republicans really wanted to purge this from their ranks, they would. Just look at Madison Cawthorn, folks. The Trump-backed former rising star lost his re-election bid this week, and it doesn't seem to be because he finally crossed off his visit to Hitler's vacation home. Yep, or, you know, calling Volodymyr Zelensky a thug, or his history of racism. No, none of that. The only time his antics were deemed unacceptable by the party was when he claimed his colleagues engaged in coke-fueled orgies. That's what got him thrown off the party train. But great replacement theory, apparently Republicans are happy to let that slide. Joining me now are Tara Setmayer, former GOP Congressional Communications Director and Senior Advisor at the Lincoln Project, former Illinois Congressman and author of F Silence, Joe Walsh, and Miles Taylor, former DHS Chief of Staff and co-founder and Executive Director of Renew America Movement. Welcome to you all. Folks, this is the unscripted part here. This is the Republican Club. Here we go. Let's rock and roll. So, what's your take on where we are right now in the face of Buffalo, right? You have this sense of the country looking at this, the perpetrator explicitly stating this was racist. His intents were racist. It was fueled by white nationalism. Tara, I'll start with you. How are you assessing this moment inside the GOP?
I think it was very illuminating to see how the Republican Party would respond to this. And they've really shown us who they are, right? Maya Angelou said, if someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. And for years, the years that I spent in the Republican Party, I was in denial about how influential this idea of racism, xenophobia, the culture wars, and this fear of the other was, how much of that was still there in the underbelly of the party. And now it has percolated to the top. And I think it is absolutely despicable that leaders of the party who have claimed for years that they have no tolerance for this apparently have tolerance for this. Their words have consequences, and their inaction to repudiate this despicable white replacement theory garbage that has been spewed out of the mouths of Fox News, celebrities, and members of Congress in Republican leadership. Elise Stefanik, I'm talking about you. Their refusal to repudiate this has led to bloodshed. And this is not the first time. And I fear this will not be the last time either. But it's more important for them to maintain power. It's more important for them to continue to foment this white grievance about being replaced, this fear of being replaced, this fear of the other. That's more important to them for political power than doing the right thing. This is a neo-fascist movement that has percolated up into the Republican Party, into the mainstream of the party. And as long as you have leaders like McConnell and others that will not say no, yell stop athwart history when no one else will, which is what Bill Buckley used to say we should do as conservatives, no one is willing to do that anymore, then you're going to continue to see this mainstreamed, and I fear more violence ahead, and shame on them for that. And it's dangerous to our democracy. This is illiberal, as illiberal as it gets.
So Joe, my man Joe, this one's for you, baby. There's this Tennessee pastor who absolutely lost his friggin' mind last Sunday during the service from the pulpit. Take a listen.
I'm to the place right now, if you vote Democrat, I don't even want you around this church. You can get out. You can get out, you demon. You can get out, you baby butchering election thief. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. Bunch of devils. I'm sick of it. They won't talk about the insurrection. Let me tell you something. You ain't seen an insurrection yet. You keep on pushing our buttons, you low-down sorry compromisers. You God-hating communist America. You'll find out what an insurrection is.
What the hell? I mean, seriously, from the pulpit, I won't even get into his tax-exempt status for his church. We'll just save that for the IRS to investigate that tape. Joe, what's your response to what Tara has referred to as this sort of ongoing amalgamation of insurrectionist attitudes and behavior inside the party?
It's not fringe anymore, Michael. What that pastor preached is no longer fringe. Look, you and I have talked before. The base of the Republican Party is fully radicalized. And look, people like me helped radicalize this base to the point now where the base of the Republican Party denies basic truths. They've given up on democracy, and they want a dictator to rule. Michael, when we talk about the base, we're talking about middle-aged and older white folk generally. And yeah, look, I engage with these people still every day, Michael. They want 1950 America back. Some of that is racial. They want a white Christian country back. And what makes me really sad, Michael Steele, is all of my former Republican colleagues in Congress know this, but instead of letting black and brown people in and trying to persuade black and brown people to vote for freedom and free markets, way too many of my former colleagues just don't want to let them in because their base is radicalized.